Make sure you stick around until the end to see how you can win free gear and products. Hey, this is PJ with CLK Supplies. And you know, I have a special guest here with me today, Sam from Grenier Marketing.
Yeah.
Sam, thanks for coming on. So the reason I invited Sam here is because in the world we live in today, there's something that all of us have to deal with if you have a business. Whether your business is big or small, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that you need some sort of online presence. And with that online presence comes Google and reviews and all of that comes together. And I figured one of the best things I could do to hopefully help all of you who are watching is to bring on my friend Sam. So Sam, Google, all of that kind of stuff, it's a big thing today.
It is.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a really big thing. But before I get going, I have to tell you guys. So Sam and I have actually known each other for a really long time. We actually went to high school together on the same football team. Yeah. And, Sam's a really good guy. And as a matter of fact, he does all of our, here at CLK Supplies, he does all of our SEO stuff.
That's right.
And has. And, and Sam can tell you, I push you. right? Oh,
yeah.
And that's part of the fun. And so I'm bringing Sam here not as just like someone that I know off the street or whatever, but someone who I trust with my own business here at CLK. And I'm excited for him to share some good information with all of you. So Sam, when it comes to online marketing, sometimes it's like stuff is true and then it becomes kind of not true, and you hear stuff like black hat, white hat, and you hear Google algorithms change and all this other stuff. And so I'm wondering if you could just share with us some facts, some true information that whoever's listening today can implement into their business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thanks for having me on, PJ.
Yeah.
Been waiting for this call for years.
Yeah.
Finally got it.
Yep.
PJ asked me to give some insight into some digital marketing, specifically, for locksmiths. It's kind of where I focused. And I came up with five different areas of focus for locksmiths online, and mainly in search.
Okay.
Online search. Google is the big monster. There's Bing and Yahoo and all the other ones. But
yeah.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is Google My Business. That is your most important piece of digital marketing. Every business needs to have it. You already have it even if you don't know it. It's out there. It just may not be claimed by you. But the first thing you need to do is make sure your Google My Business is claimed by you, your information is correct, and you completely fill out everything on it. Every description, every business category, put in pictures, just load that thing with content. That's going to be your number one. It's more important to your website, especially in your industry. People are, when they need a locksmith, they need it now.
Absolutely.
Right? So make sure they're going to see that before they see your website.
Okay. So essentially you're saying like if you don't have a Google My Business listing, then you're going to want to log into a Google Gmail account, or like how would they go about claiming that?
Yeah, so good question. So the first thing you do is just Google your business name, and then you will see, usually, unless you're a fairly new business, you'll see your listing on there. You'll see your business name on there, its address. They pulled their information from a whole bunch of different data sources.
Okay.
But you'll see your information on there, and down at the bottom of that listing, there's going to be claim this business. There's a link there. Click that. It walks you through the process to claim it. They'll call your business to make sure you are in fact the owner, or they'll send you a postcard or something like that.
Okay.
But it's a step-by-step process, and they walk you through it pretty easily.
Okay. So you pretty much just got to hit that claim button.
Yep.
And start going down that process.
Exactly. The number 2 thing that I wanted to talk about is also Google My Business related.
Okay.
You're going to hear me talk about Google My Business a lot. It is that important. If you're a local business, you need to have Google My Business. You need to have it optimized.
Okay.
When you do that, you need to encourage reviews. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's kind of a love-hate thing on the internet because anyone can write reviews.
Yes, they can.
And they could be good or bad.
They can.
I'm sure you've dealt with a few.
I have. I have.
Yeah. So it's a search factor. It's a factor in how you rank.
It is.
It is. It's not a known. Nothing is known for sure. But these search engine experts all do surveys and they run tests and they come out with a survey at the end of the year and they say what do they think is the most important factor to make your listing rank. And reviews is up there as a very important reason.
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
So you want to encourage online reviews, and you can do that through emails, through text messages, hang little review signs on your windows, but encourage people to write reviews online. On Google, and then more importantly is respond to those reviews, good or bad.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep. You want to respond to all of them.
Okay.
Yes.
So, let's talk about this real quick, okay? Because this is something that's I find interesting. Is sometimes I'll search for, local business for whatever it is, plumbing, whatever. And you'll see some companies that have a crazy amount of reviews. Mm-hmm. And you see other businesses that have very few reviews. But knowing in the area that the company that has the very few reviews is humongous, and the company that has a ton is actually really small. Mm-hmm. How much do the reviews affect a person's business, right?
Yeah. So, when you see it that way, if you see a big business with very small reviews or a small business with big reviews, I'm guessing the small business has some sort of Google or review generation tactic in place. Okay. So they're sending out text to every one of their customers to say, hey, how was your service? Please, write us a review on Google. Okay. How it affects your business, it's not, qualitative. You can't say exactly how it's going to affect your business. Mm-hmm. But one thing, it's going to help you rank better. Okay. Not an exact percentage there. Sure. But it's going to build your online reputation. So, when you're looking at Google search, you don't want to worry about just where you rank, but you also want people to click on you and call you or go to your website or fill out your form. So building that online reputation is going to help with your rankings and the clicks and the calls. So it's a conversion tool too. Okay. That's what we call it. Okay.
Now, before we get off reviews here,
we talk reviews for hours.
I mean, we can, because let's talk about negative reviews. Mm-hmm. Okay. So on Google, you don't have to do business with the business to leave them a bad review. Right. As a matter of fact, people have been even upset with us here at COK, and you'll see 6 reviews pop out of nowhere. Yep. And you're like, whoa, something's weird here. What's going on?
Yeah. They talk to their friends to go write reviews.
They talk to their friends or whatever they do because they're upset. I mean, what tactics have you seen used to deal? I mean, at some point, if they're going to leave you a bad review, they're just going to leave you a bad review, and you can respond to it. Yes. Right? Now, when you respond to it, I've seen some responses, and some are pretty tongue-in-cheeky. Yep. Some are broken-hearted. It's kind of all over the place. Yeah. It's inevitable. At some point, your business, my business, the person watching's business, we're going to get some negative reviews. Some we're going to deserve because we did a bad job. Some are just going to be wow, I can't believe my competitors had their friends go on there and play dirty. Right. From what you've seen with all the clients that you work with, what's a good way to look at it? Because it's easy to get emotional, right? Mm-hmm. It's really easy to be hey, this is affecting my business. I'm really upset. How do we deal with it?
So the first thing you want to do is just use it as a tool for your business. I mean, it can help you understand what is right and what is wrong with your processes. Now, if you're going to get into the negative reviews that may not relate to your business, it may be friends of friends of friends, you can flag those reviews.
You can.
You can flag them as inappropriate. Chances are not a lot's going to happen. Google.
They're going to stay there.
Yeah, they are.
So
unless they're naming names or use foul language, you can flag those, and Google will take those down.
Okay.
But responding to the reviews is very important, good or bad. But on the bad, still send that response. Sound sincere. Don't get tongue in cheek is what I would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Keep it very generic so you're not going to ruffle any feathers. These people that are writing these negative reviews, I think kind of want to fight.
Okay, they're all it's kind of like antagonistic.
Right. Yep. You don't want to give them a reason to fight back again. So keep it very, I apologize you feel this way, or I apologize the service didn't live up to your expectations. Thank you for providing your feedback. We use these reviews to help improve our processes. Mm-hmm. And if you'd like to discuss this any further, call da-da-da-da-da. That's kind of a generic review response there.
Okay.
But I'd say the most important way, or the best way to combat negative reviews, is bury them with positive reviews.
Okay. So keep, work at getting positive reviews.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sam, when it comes to negative reviews and someone leaves you one, mm-hmm. right? We try to reach out to the customer. If we can figure out, sometimes you can't figure out who it is.
Right.
But if you can figure out who it is, and, at least, be willing as a company to try to deal with it, especially if, they have a valid point. Right. And sometimes they do, mm-hmm. right? Now they can change that review.
Right.
Right. So they could start out negative, and they can get back in there and change it to positive. Mm-hmm. It's not like set in stone.
Right.
Am I right?
You're correct.
And it can also go opposite, right? You could have a positive, and for whatever reason, it could later turn negative.
Yeah.
And so it's really, from my perspective, it's kind of like the wild, wild west out there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, 100% is.
And so you kind of need to have a strategy of building positive reviews.
Yes. You have to have that strategy. Again, build those positive reviews. It can bury the negative reviews. But back to those negative reviews, and I should have touched on it, but yes, if you have the name of the customer and you know who they are, reach out to them. See how you can solve the problem.
Yep.
And they could revert it. That happens a lot. They revert it back to from a negative to a positive and say, hey, had this issue, but PJ fixed it. It was great. Yeah.
So as a whole, when it comes to reviews, I kind of find that there's two people that tend to leave reviews, and I don't know if you have any statistics to back this up, mm-hmm. or what your insight is, but I feel like people that are really happy with you, or people that are really upset.
Yeah.
Right? There's not too many in the middle.
Yeah. You don't see people get, I had a pretty okay service with them, and type that, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
not gonna they either want to share with the world to everyone needs to use you, or they want to share with the world you're the worst company in the world and you ruin lives.
Right. Yeah,
right.
It's kind of everything on the internet, right? It's extreme one way or another.
It is true.
Yeah. That's right. So just keep burying those bad ones with the good ones.
Okay. Yeah. Good stuff.
Number 3 is, again, we're Google My Business related. But I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a question and answer section on Google My Business where a customer or a user, a Google user, can go to your business and ask a question. Something like, are you open on Saturdays? Do you install deadbolts? Questions like that.
Is your business 24 hours?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. So monitor that closely. Make sure you're answering those questions. But a little tip is you can ask your own questions.
You can.
And then
legally.
Yeah, and it's actually in Google's guidelines that they say, this, you should do this, you can do this.
Okay.
Ask your own questions and answer your own questions.
Okay.
Because, you're providing content, information mm-hmm. to the user, so Google likes that. That's beneficial. So go in and type a question, are you open 24 hours? And then go down underneath that and say, yeah, we're open 24 hours.
Okay.
The next thing you want to do when you write that response is like it. There's a little thumbs up thing for those.
Okay.
And when the way the responses to questions show up is whoever has the most thumbs up.
Interesting.
So you'd like your answers to be at the top. So monitor that. Make sure the thumbs up are always,
Okay.
you have more than one that's below you.
Okay. Now, how many Q&As should you want to get? So like, let's say if someone right now is listening and they've claimed their My Google Business, and they may have 1 or 2 reviews in there, and they may not have any Q&A. How many, valid ones? Because I mean, when you know your business, you know the questions that are always being asked, and so I mean, you could go for days.
Oh yeah.
Putting stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like, where's a good starting spot?
Yeah. If you've been in business for a while, like you said, you know what questions come in. So I would focus on 10 of your top asked questions.
Okay.
I'm sure you get 5 or 6 that's the same. You always get those questions. Make sure those are in there. But don't get too heavy in the Q&A. Otherwise, some of your more important questions or the more frequently asked questions will get buried by some questions that just aren't as important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no limit. You can go in. Google will let you go in for
days.
For days, yeah. So out of Google My Business, we've got your website.
Okay.
Which I would think it would surprise people to think that the website's not as important as Google My Business. But I really believe in this industry,
Okay.
Google My Business is much more important than having a website.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I don't have the numbers with me, but I could provide some numbers on with my locksmith client, the Lockfather.
The Lockfather. Yeah.
The amount of traffic his Google My Business sees versus the amount of traffic his website sees, and it's going to be tenfold, I would think.
Really?
But I could provide that if we want to later.
Okay.
So on your website, then I'm going to keep this very basic. You don't have to go nuts with your website, but please make sure your website is mobile friendly. And that sounds like, of course, I mean, everything. But you can see a lot of websites that were built. I built my website 10 years ago. It's all the information's the same. Why do I need to change it? Change it, make sure it's mobile friendly. It helps with Google rankings.
Okay.
Google looks at that as a ranking factor, whether it's mobile friendly, it's a yes or no. If it's a no, it dings you.
Really?
Yep. So, and for the user, especially in the locksmith industry, they're going to be on their mobile phone.
True.
So make sure your website's mobile.
Okay. Okay, so when it comes to website for a second, I think a lot of time when you hear sort of like SEO, make sure your business is found, is known, is, on the top of the listings. You're saying that the My Google listing is more important than your actual business listing that would be kind of underneath that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, like when I hear SEO, right, I'm thinking like, okay, do I need to have like a bunch of keywords on my page? Do I need to have this and have that? I mean, you're essentially saying that like the gateway into them finding you starts with My Google listing, and then making sure your website's mobile friendly, because that's going to be more important than having like this keyword rich website that you see a lot of. Like it's kind of like the buzz. Like when you search on the internet, you see a lot about keyword rich and this tactic and that tactic.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different ranking factors. There's the Google Map Pack, which is those are the ABC listings, which we've been talking about with Google My Business. And then there's the listings below it, which you mentioned. Do not ignore your website. I'm not saying you don't need to focus on your website.
Okay.
There's 80-20 rules. There's all these rules about how much of my business comes from where.
Yep.
Most of yours is going to come from Google My Business.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean forget about, that could be 70%. Don't forget about 30% of your business that find you elsewhere and go to your website. I mean, if you lost 30% of your business, I think you'd be hurting, right?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and it's important to say, I talk a lot about the 80-20 principle here. So that's something everyone listening is very familiar with me talking about.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Maybe I've watched a few of these
videos.
So, when you're talking about that keyword-rich content on your website, it is important to have content on your website.
Okay.
That's what Google sees. They read text.
Yep.
It reads text. Don't focus on the keywords though. You see too many websites say, hey, if you're looking for a locksmith in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, I've got this great locksmith business in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. If you're looking for locksmiths, we are your locksmiths. Like,
okay, yeah. It's just
there's too much. You don't stuff it like that.
Okay.
That's not how people read. Write how people read. Make sure you're highlighting your services. If you offer products, the products you offer, and write quality content that someone is going to want to read.
Okay.
Okay.
So the Google, the keywords and all that, like that's important, but above that is making sure that your website is actually mobile friendly.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. Number 5. This is a real quick and easy one.
Okay.
Don't forget about Bing.
Okay. Bing, I mean, I've never even heard of Bing before. Tell me about it.
You've heard about Bing.
I'm joking.
Bing is the number two search engine in the world is YouTube, but cancel that out. Bing is the number 2 search engine in the world.
Okay.
For local search.
For local search.
Yep. It's about, numbers change, but I want to say it's about 20% of search engine traffic comes from Bing. So don't ignore it. And it's really simple. You do not have to spend as much time as you would on Google, on Bing. You can go into Bing Business. Bing Business. I think, yeah, Bing My Business.
Okay.
I'll have to figure out that URL for you. We can put it in the notes.
In the notes below?
Comments.
Yeah.
You can just simply transfer the information you put on Google into Bing.
Okay.
So once you log into your Bing account, you just transfer that information over, adjust a couple things, and you're done.
Okay. So you don't need to
do
put a ton of stuff, but Bing is there's still enough there to traffic there to do something.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And I've noticed it's a lot of the older demographics that are using Bing.
Really?
Yeah, it's a default browser on some phones and on Windows computers.
That is true.
And so they don't, a lot of people don't know to change that to Google, so they just use what's there.
Okay, so they're hitting on that little, looks like an E, but it's now Edge.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's pulling up a Bing search engine.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how it comes.
Yep.
So don't forget about Bing.
Don't forget about it.
Okay.
But don't spend too much time on it.
Don't spend too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, what I really want to kind of end with and kind of talk about for a minute is timeless information, right? So for the amount of time that I've, been with the website and Google and all that kind of stuff, it's like so many times information once that was true then becomes not true. But I think the principles you're bringing here are, regardless of whatever new algorithm comes out or this or that, like these are more timeless principles.
Yes. Yeah. That's a really good point. Everything I mentioned here is all user focused or visitor focused. So as long as you are doing things for the website visitor or the Google visitor,
Okay.
and thinking about them when you're writing your content or responding to your reviews or doing your FAQs or creating your Google My Business profile, as long as you're focusing on them, you're going to be good for years and years and years. Don't worry about Google's algorithm.
Okay, so yeah, don't read some weird thing and try to get crazy with it. It might help today, but tomorrow it'll hurt, right. And you don't want to go down that path.
Yeah, you don't want to try and trick Google. You don't want to try and find little ways to game the system. Just focus on the user.
Awesome. All right, Sam, well, thank you for taking the time to come on here and go over these principles. I really appreciate it because, from my perspective, anyone right now who's looking at trying to grow their business, make sure they have a good online presence, these principles are absolutely great. And, everyone listening, so this is the deal. I talked to Sam and he was able to put together a kind of like some sort of like a package to kind of audit their Google My Business listings, essentially. Right. Can you kind of talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. So it's just on our website. We've created a page just for you guys. GrenierMarketing.com/locksmith, and there'll be a link in the comment.
Yep, we can go in there.
But what you can do is go in there and fill out your business information, and you'll get that free SEO audit, and it's going to tell you everything about your Google My Business listing, and a little bit about your competitors and what they're doing, and give you the resources you need to help optimize your business.
And that's just 100% free.
100%
right? No
free.
strings attached. You might get an email from you or something, probably, right?
Right, but you can ignore that email if you want to.
Yeah. If you want to ignore my friend Sam, you know what? Ignore him, but use that tool. So the cool part is that you can kind of get all this information that we've been going over right now in this video, and then you can go to that link, put your information in, automatically get this report generated, and really see where you're at. And you can just go ahead and start working on it. Yeah. Start fixing it right away. You don't need to pay Sam anything.
Everything I do, you can do yourself.
Yep, you can do yourself. Yeah. And if you want to continue the relationship, obviously, or see what it would look like to work with you, you can.
Yeah.
And you can join the ranks of CLK, me using Sam, as well as the Lock Father uses Sam for all of his local SEO. So that's kind of the fun to bring you on. I use you. My dad's been using you now, and the fact that anyone listening, all the people in the Lock Boss community, can also use your services if they'd like.
For sure. Love it.
Very cool, Sam. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. And everybody, we'd love to know in the comments below what you think. Where are you at with all of this? And by the way, next Tuesday, Sam's going to be coming on live. So you guys can rapid fire, shoot him your questions. He'll be sitting just like this right next to me. And we're going to have some fun, Sam.
I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to have some fun. So thanks again for coming on. Everyone, thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Sound like Kermit the Frog.
I know, so the weird part is I've always known what your voice sounds like, and it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You've always known what my voice sounds like, it's no big deal. But when you hear your own voice, it's like,
disgusting.
Yeah, I want a deeper Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
You don't want to be.
Do you think he hates the sound of his voice too?
Dude, if you're Vin Diesel, there's no need for you to hate the sound of your voice because you're so awesome.
That's true.
Right?
You never know.
It's true.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Nothing else matters.
Do you have like a remote? How do you control it? Or we're just on?
We're on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll get this out of me. Get my notes.
Okay.
So, because I need to know what I'm talking about.
Just this.
I thought that's what you wanted to do, is make yourself.
Yeah, be like, well, Sam, talk to me about life.
Real power move.
Yeah, be like, you've been cooler than me during high school, and I'm trying to flex now, right?
Yep. I don't know where that comes from, but that was cool idea.
I mean,
It's not the case.
you just were, man. Have it. The 5 things that Sam, through your research and being an industry professional in this, or let me say research and professional. It's so weird. I mean, what actually are you?
What is it that you do?
I mean, like on your business card, what do you put?
We were talking about that in our business, and I like the title Director of Search, but that doesn't make sense here.
Okay.
I am a digital marketing consultant.
Okay. Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, do something like that.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, it's all
Really?
yours.
Just 100% free, no strings attached.
It's free. You might get an email or an email. Yeah. I was
No
gonna say
worries.
call. I'm not gonna call. That was a good one too.
Yeah, that was. But I have a better way to introduce this too, so.
Okay.
That'll be
Okay.
good. All right, Sam, we'll take.
Once you get past that first word, though, you're golden.
I know, I don't know what the problem is, man. No, gosh. Well, let me get a sip of coffee. Blew him out, so no, it's just a fake sip. Whatever. All right.
Trick your brain.
Yep. I'm guessing if you just watched this video that you work with locks and keys. And to us here at CLK Supplies, that makes you a lock boss. And we want to hook you up. Here's how it works. Throughout the week, we post videos on YouTube, like the one you just watched. And all you need to do is comment on the videos and include the hashtag LockBoss. When you do this, you're automatically entered in to win one of 5 free prizes that we give out each and every week. No purchase necessary. So if you're a lock boss, join us each week to learn, grow, and win. Yeah, I want a deeper Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.